We've now got a view from the police with Gareth Judd and Paul Maddison.
Right, let's get started then. So, hello everybody. Thanks for giving us your time and having a listen to what we've got to say. We are from NCA Cyber Prevent. We are police officers. We work in a local ROCU, which is a regional organised crime unit. And we are part of what's known as Cyber Choices. And basically, that's our job, to prevent individuals becoming involved in cybercrime and help them make the right cyber choices. I'm PC Gareth Judd, Paul Maddison, you've already just heard there, and PC Steve Granger. He's the new lad on the team. He's listening in, but he's not taking part today. So, just to go through it all with you then, the aims of the Cyber Choices programme. So, young people are immersed in communications and computing technology, including phones, tablets, and laptops and PCs. Cyber Choices was created to help people make positive choices to use their cyber skills in a legal way. And the aims of us is, our job is to explain the difference between legal and illegal cyber activity, encourage individuals to make, divert individuals away from cybercrime, and promote legal tech opportunities, ways they can get them into employment or education around cyber. The way we do this, we achieve our aims by engaging and educating, identifying, intervening and inspiring. So, nice little graphic. So, engage and educate, giving presentations, for example, at school assemblies, youth clubs or conferences. We do this all the time. If we get a presentation that we can do, we'll pop along and do anything we can to sort of like speak with people and try and get involved with our target audience. Attend events such as gaming and computer exhibitions. This is to do with basically, there is a link between sort of people who are into cybercrime and do gaming, but that's not to say that all gamers are cyber criminals and all cyber criminals are gamers, but there is a link there, so it's just where there's a shared interest. Up here in the Northeast, we've gotten hold of our own gaming PC that we take to events, and it sort of attracts over people who are interested in talking to us, and it's a nice little icebreaker. So that's one of the things that we do to sort of like break the gap between us and them and start the conversation. Promoting interesting and legal ways to use and develop cyber skills, including online competitions. So I'll show you some of this towards the end of the slides. There's a lot of things that we do, the NCA do, Cyber Security Challenge do, and we try and get them out there and promote them to the people that we're trying to get involved with. It's a way to sort of like get them involved and practice the skills and hone their skills, but without actually committing any offences. And we work with those on the periphery of cybercrime and those who may have committed cybercrime and divert them to more positive pathways. So we are looking to try and find people who are just starting to experiment with cybercrime or just becoming involved in it. Once they cross a certain threshold, they've gone too far, we can't really work with them anymore from a prevent point of view. But we certainly will try and work with people who are sort of like starting out, where they may not even know that they've actually committed any cybercrime. They may just think that they have done something that was perfectly legal, but they're anonymous and they can't be found, and they didn't really think about the consequences of it. But quite often as well, they do know that what they're doing is wrong, and they do know they're causing havoc, and we have to work with those people as well if we can. And the idea is to sort of like keep them out of the criminal justice system and try and turn their skills to the powers of good, getting them into things like penetration testing and cybersecurity, rather than wasting that talent and having them basically go to court and get told never to touch a computer again. So, achieving our aims. We identify these individuals in a number of ways. We receive referrals, can be from anyone. Quite often we get them from schools, so teachers, social services, parents, police investigations, and public events. So with regards to teachers, yes, they do come in from there a lot, but we're trying to get the word out to teachers that we need to speak to these students, because what we have found in the past is that a teacher will give a student detention for trying to hack a network, or will try and give them some sort of punishment for trying to hack a network, when really what we need to do is is actually get a hold of them and get them into the cyber prevent side of things and start talking to them and start the conversations. Social services, parents can self-refer. We've got websites and stuff with lots of material on for parents to get in touch with us. Police investigations, if a job's going through as a pursue job where they're trying to prosecute the offender, they might come to a point where they say, we don't think a pursue job is necessary for this, so we might be able to get them down in the prevent line of work and work closely in that regard. And public events, so we're always out there, we're always at public events. We've done a few last year. We did the Big Bang Theory and the Big Bang event. It was just hosted in Sunderland. So we're always out and about, so people can come speak to us if they want to. And then, are they suitable for cyber choices? So what we do is we ensure knowledge and understanding of the Computer Misuse Act, make sure they understand the consequence of their actions, and positive interventions, and signpost them to resources. So we show them things. Basically, we try and get them a better education. We'll try and get them to things such as cyber dojos and work experience, if we can even go that far. And we'll show them such things as, if they've got a job in mind that they want to do, we might even help see them like a path to get through to that job, just to sort of like start the conversation a bit. We'll also try and reduce any risk they represent by working with them in other areas as well. So I briefly touched on the fact that we're a regional organised crime unit. Basically, there are 10 in the UK, in England and Wales, and there's Scotland have their own. It's delivered by Regional and Local Cyber Choices Network, coordinated by the NCA. We have the 10 with 43 local police forces with dedicated cyber choices officers. And all your officers are capable of identifying vulnerable young people in their jurisdiction for cyber choices interventions. You can have a look and see if someone covers your area there. So one thing we have to distinct between is that there's two types of cybercrime. So the cyber-enabled crime and the cyber-dependent crime. So the first type of cybercrime we will talk about is cyber-enabled crime. These are more traditional crime types using technology. So for example, this would be like stealing identities or making online threats. It's the way we like to describe it is it's any normal crime that can be committed, but it's done with a computer. So like you could walk up into the street and somebody and you could steal from them. You could rob them, but you could do that on a computer as well. You could rob from them. That's a cyber-enabled crime. The second type of cybercrime is cyber-dependent crime, which is where technology is necessary to commit the crime itself. It can include things such as DDoS attacks using rats, basically anything to do with where a computer attacks another computer. And that's the kind of, sorry, I forgot about the screen there. That's basically the kind of crime that we're dealing with. Now, that's not to say that if we found out about some cyber-enabled crime, we just say, oh, that's not our job. We would, of course, refer down the correct path and get whoever needs to be involved in that. But we specifically interested in cyber-dependent crime. So the Cyber Choices program focuses just purely on that. Just some arrows in case you didn't understand what I was saying. So basically, this is a CREST report which was published on February 2016. Information from a 2015 workshop with penetration testers and compared profiles of cyber criminals and top-level penetration testers to identify commonalities and differences which could identify causes of deviance. So documented gaming, cybercrime pathway and possible intervention process. Like I said at the start, it's important to remember that not all gamers are cyber criminals and not all cyber criminals are gamers. 2, reinforce that financial gain is not the primary motivation for the target audience. Challenge and peer recognition are more important. We've found that with a lot of people we've spoke to, there has been people who've had monetary goals, but there's also been the large majority of them who are just doing it because they want to impress friends and they want people to see that they've got the skills that others don't.
Gareth, if I can just quickly jump in there, I think that the gentleman that was previously speaking, when we say that financial gain isn't the primary motivation for criminal cyber offenders, I think that's mainly down to the age group that we deal with.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think once you reach past a certain age group and you start getting into like hacktivism or like become parts of like organized crime groups, then of course financial gain is the primary motivation to fund whatever you're doing, whatever kind of criminality you're doing, or whatever kind of political agenda that you have. But with the young people that we deal with from the ages of like 11 up to 21, we're finding it's just mainly the challenge and like Gareth says, peer recognition that is most important to them.
Yeah, I mean, we've in what we deal with, we tend to deal with age ranges between 11 and 21. We'll often go like either side of that as well, but generally that's the sort of age range we're dealing with. And we've had people who do things like they make the victims put their Twitter handle on their forehead and take a picture and stuff like that, because it gives them that recognition that they've basically dominated that person or taken advantage of them. So yes, we do respect and understand that there's a financial gain for a lot of people who are hacking as well. But from our range point of view, that's what we see. And the earlier the intervention, the more likely a positive outcome. This is best sort of illustrated by the fact that we've had individuals who they've said it felt like a game what they were doing, that they felt like they were anonymous, they felt like they couldn't be caught. And that because the things they were doing were impacting a different country, which was America in this instance, it just felt like a game that didn't think they were doing anything that could come back to them. So the earlier we can get involved with them, the quicker we can stop silly things like that happening and then cause so much trouble. So this is just the gaming pathway. We know this isn't the only pathway. We don't need to run through it thoroughly, but it's just to reinforce the previous slide. So basically, across the top, you've got the computer gaming, online gaming, computer gaming cheats, computer gaming modifications, hacking forum participation, minor cybercrime to beat the system, minor cybercrime for financial gain, and then serious cybercrime. And you can see it below each of those lines, it sort of like goes through how it touches on, so from legal to illegal, and then from just real world contact towards minor cyber criminals and organized crime. And this is an intelligence assessment which was publicly released in 2017. So the ability of low-level hacking tools encourages criminal behavior. You don't need to be sort of able to do coding and things like that to be able to be a cyber criminal. There are hacking tools that are available, and you can follow videos on YouTube to show you how to do it. Offenders begin participating in game cheating and modding forums and progress to criminal hacking forums. Again, that's strictly not to say that just because you're a gamer and you like modern games, that means you're going to become a hacker or that you are a hacker. That's not what we're saying, but there is a link in the gaming way through. Offenders perceive the risk of encountering law enforcement as low. We've had many experiences with this, sitting at home behind a VPN, tapping away on your keyboard, don't think you can get caught. Unfortunately, you can. Disassociation by the offenders regarding their online behavior and impact of it. Like I said, some of them feel like they're playing a game. Targeted interventions at young age can lead to positive outcomes, which is why we're sort of like aiming at around 11 to 21 or even younger. And there's a general lack of awareness about the legality of actions. So it is true. To me, there's been a few people I've been out to see where I've thought, how could you not see that was illegal? But when you really get inside it and look at it, there's a lot of things that people can be doing that they might not think is illegal. So something as simple as launching a small DDoS attack, like a paid-for-hire DDoS attack service to kick your friends off the internet because they're playing games and they're beating you at FIFA. It seems low level, but it is actually a Computer Misuse Act offence. Even something as simple as looking at over the shoulder of someone to get a password of a partner's phone and using that to get into the phone to have a look around, that's a Computer Misuse Act offence, but they might just think it's not illegal. So there's an education point there that we need to address. We need to sort of like get people to understand that there are laws in place. These laws have meaning and they're quite serious, and sort of like educate our individuals about that. So motivations. Basically, this is going back to, again, we're talking about our age group and we're talking about the 11 to 21s, and basically this is what we think is the big thing for them. So kudos is a big one, to be challenged, peer recognition, social status. So they'll basically advertise what they're doing so people can see what they're doing, and that makes them feel like they're doing really well. Financial gain is definitely in there as well. One case that I dealt with recently, financial gain was in there, but it was one of the lesser things because he was basically doing bomb hoaxes at schools and asking for money to do that, but that was just a little side job on top of what he was already doing, so he just thought he could make some money out of it. Lack of perception of risk, we've already touched on. Availability of online tools and tutorials, we've already touched on that too. School not challenging enough, that is often the case as well. We quite often deal with people who just don't find school interesting or challenging because they're so good at doing what they do. Perceived anonymity, to test out their skills, and they believe it to be a victimless crime, which I think we'll go into later. It isn't. Criminal record could affect their education and future career prospects, and to help them understand the difference of what is illegal and what is illegal online. So just to go through the crimes, basically Section 1 of the Computer Misuse Act is unauthorised access to computer material, which is up to 2 years and/or a fine. Someone shoulder surfs a friend while they enter the username and password, and they remember the login details and log in and read messages. 2 would be unauthorised access with intent to commit or facilitate the commission of further offences, which can be up to 5 years and/or a fine. You leave a tablet on your sofa without your permission, someone accesses the online shopping account, orders a new computer console from your credit card. I mean, that's clearly a crime. Unauthorised access with intent to impair or with recklessness as to impairing the operation of a computer is a Section 3 offence, which is up to 10 years and/or a fine. So we're starting to really get the maximum sentence, starting to really rack up there now. Sarah's playing an online game, but her friend scores higher than her. Sarah uses a tool to knock them offline and win the game. So what I touched on there before, basically you're losing at a game of FIFA and your friend kicks you offline, that carries a maximum sentence of up to 10 years and/or a fine. I mean, you would never get that, but that's the kind of thing we're dealing with. Burglary only carries a 14 years maximum sentence, so it's getting in there with that sort of offence. And 3ZA, unauthorised acts causing or creating risk of serious damage. So Kim hacks into the police network, results in delayed emergency calls, and even though it was not her intention, she was reckless in her actions, which can carry a maximum sentence of up to 14 years under a fine. Unless there is a serious risk of actual harm to national security or human welfare, in which case it can be up to life imprisonment. No one we ever speak to understands or believes that the Computer Misuse Act can carry an imprisonment of life, but it does. And finally, a 3A, so making, supplying, or obtaining articles for use in another Computer Misuse Act. So rob and download software, bypass login credentials, and hack his friend's laptop. He's not had a chance to use it yet. So that's just 2 years and a fine. I say just 2 years and a fine. I wouldn't want to be the clink for 2 years, but there you go. There are a number of other ways being involved in cybercrime can affect young people in the short and the long term. So top of the list, we'll go out and see you. If we find out that you've been committing it, we'll come and have a chat. You could end up having banned or limited internet usage, not being able to get the job you want. One of the cases I keep referring back to, the lad who did it was extremely skilled at he could have been a very good researcher, and he's not going to be able to get his hands on a computer to be able to do that anymore because he ended up in court. Not being able to travel to certain countries, especially America is a big one. If you do anything in America, they'll just never let you in. Having your devices seized, being expelled from school, not being able to get into a college or a university, or basically all of them, and quite often all of them as well. I spoke before about basically people thinking it was a victimless crime. It is not a victimless crime, as we all know. So physical things that can happen is stress, basically, and that can cause quite a lot of other side effects, especially if you're already ill of health. Self-harm as a result of depression. Basically, they've been a victim of a cybercrime and they've lost everything. So suicides can be are actually linked to direct results of cybercrime as well. Emotional impacts. Individuals can suffer emotional consequences such as being stressed or depressed due to being a victim of cybercrime. Financial impacts can be huge. A victim pays a ransom to gain access to the files they own from a ransomware attack. They can suffer financially and can cause a variety of other consequences. It can even cause irreparable damage to a small business that basically can no longer survive because they've lost that, and that can also affect the business's reputation which means people might not come to them anymore. So it's again, it's an ongoing sort of spiral, and then that leads to the businesses being closed. So not victimless. So a case study. This isn't the one I've been talking about, but this is a different one. Cyber attack involving the bombarding of a website or web service, or a DDoS, such as by email and sending in multiple data requests. These came from multiple origins simultaneously, which is why it's called distributed, and those involved a botnet being used to carry out the attack. So this person became disinterested in school from a young age and got sucked into the world of gaming. Started visiting gaming forums for interaction, became interested in cheating and trolling, became interested in how to DDoS, started visiting hacking sections of gaming forums, decided to program their own software, aged 15. They commercialized the software at age 16 and generated over 110,000 users, which generated a further 1.7 million attacks. Aged 18, basically the subject committed nearly 600 attacks against 181 IP addresses, over 110,000 registered users, like I said, and arrested, found with £350,000 and nearly 250 Bitcoin, tried as a juvenile and 24 months imprisonment, on top of the proceeds of crime payment to get all that money back. Software went on to be developed by a different top DDoS service after the subject's arrest, so that software was still out there the last time this was created, which I think just goes to show that sort of like why our job's important. Basically, if we could get to that one 15-year-old or 14-year-old, we could have stopped such a lot of pain for them particularly, and for anybody else who were the victim of their crime. This individual was also diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. I don't know whether anyone's aware or whether you've seen, there's a case study by Bath University looking at the link between sort of autism spectrum and cybercrime, and there is a link there. So we do find that we have spent a lot of time working with people who are autistic. I think it's already been touched on in the presentation about like getting people into jobs with cyber industry. It's out there, so and certainly earn a lot more than what I do as a 10-year cop. So definitely a way to go. I wish I'd had the skills and abilities to work in the cyber industry. Positive career opportunities. So basically, there's a positive use of skills. There's a huge demand for digital skills with a large skills gap in the cyber security industry. Plenty of opportunities to have a career in one of the exciting dynamic industries in the world, some of which are mentioned here. And resources. So as I was saying earlier on, there's quite a lot of really fun, exciting and stimulating online courses and tests that you can do. Even if you're not considering a career in technology, they're quite good fun. They're quite sort of like something to kill a bit of time. There's lots of virtual camps for the Cyber First as well. Oops, sorry, I need to go past that. Cybersecurity Challenge, it's a series of national competitions and learning programs designed to identify, inspire, and enable more people to become cybersecurity professionals. And Cyber Discovery, a virtual school. Free license enables over 200 online cybersecurity challenges. So that's pretty good as well. And this is just some of our sort of partners and people we work with. Immersive Labs have been really good with us as well. We've done quite a lot of work with them. I can go through all them, but I think you already all know about them. And we've got resources for schools as well. There's a PSHE website, which I can hand out if anyone wants to come to us after the presentation. I can give out the website. There's lots of stuff there, materials to help with educating basically. So again, it's all about getting in there early and speaking to people. Anyone can contact us, including parents, guardians, carers, teachers, and social workers. We've got our own website, all posh like that. In most cases, the NCA, one of our regional local partners, can provide you with expert advice or can talk to somebody before things go too far. We'd love to get out there and speak to anybody who who's getting involved or getting on the wrong side of cybercrime. And if you have any concerns or a person's online, please talk to us. If a young person has an interest, it's important we have a discussion about their use and recognise the interest. Engaging with the young person is key. Just some tips there. Explain the importance and honesty, legal and consequences involved in cybercrime. Search for computer coding clubs. If you're concerned about advice on guide how to point a person down a positive pathway, contact us and explain the dynamic, worthwhile legal options available to them. And that's it. That's us. You can contact us at the top there on our own personal email. It's our team email up at the northeast. So nerccu.prevent@durham.pn.police.uk. And if we can, we'd love to hear from you.
It's worthwhile just quickly pointing out that some of the earlier presenters spoke about the age range of people that work in this industry, with only like 6% under the age of 30 or something like that. If we can identify a young person that has got an interest in this field, and we can identify and intervene at that point, and like we say, inspire them to do something else. Because if we leave that young person alone, if they're left to their own devices without any kind of like educational direction or intervention from us, then that might be the silver bullet that kills any potential career in the future, any future prospects. So I think that's the most important part of our job, is to help these young people to get some direction in their lives, to avoid being prosecuted, and hopefully end up in a career that is crying out for young people of that particular talent. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gareth. Thank you very much, Paul.